Hey, I got a question about protein. So I wanted to kind of give you the lowdown on protein, kind of the why, the when, the how much, and some examples of protein. And apologies, I should have gone to comb my hair and maybe make myself presentable, but I'm in between coaching calls and I thought I just got to get this out for you. So after reading this, I'm hoping, or reading or watching this, I'm hoping that you will be more inspired to have more protein in your nutrition plan, because protein is kind of the harder food women tend to eat the least of, and it's not the fun food you can throw in your purse. It's you have to plan for it. So I want to motivate you to have more protein, because I really feel like it's what puts the sexy in your jeans. It's the food that's going to help you maintain, like lose the weight and maintain it and keep your shape. So let's just talk about protein. First of all, what it is and why you need it. Well, first of all, it's the building blocks for your body, and when you don't have enough protein, your body will find the protein and it'll find it in your muscles. So you'll tend to catabolize your muscle, and your muscle is that hard-earned, metabolically active tissue that's going to help maintain your metabolism. So the more muscle you have on your body, the higher your metabolism, the more sexy shape you have, the more function and strength you have. So like the muscle that we have, it's hard earned and we don't want to lose it. So that's motivation in itself to have protein. And the other thing is that lots of women think, oh, if I eat too much protein, it's hard on the kidneys, or maybe I'm going to get too big, and it doesn't happen that way. So protein is composed of amino acids. There's essential amino acids that you have to have, that your body can't create, and then there's non-essential amino acids. So the non-essential ones are amino acids that you can get, say, from rice and beans. Put them together and you'll have a complete protein. The essential amino acids you must get from complete protein sources, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Protein takes about 2 hours to digest, and every gram of protein, no matter what source it's from, is 4 calories. All right, so how much protein do you actually need? So I found a study, and they looked, the age was irrelevant, but they wanted to know if a 90-gram serving of protein would be, would all that protein be utilized for muscle building and recovery and whatnot. And what their conclusion was is that for the most part, we can digest and use efficiently about 30 grams. Now, I wouldn't, gun to my head, I would not say that that's the exact amount. But what the point is that it's, you don't want to have all your protein in one sitting. It's more efficient to break up your protein requirement into smaller amounts, because your body can utilize the building blocks more effectively. And then the other question is, it's like, how much protein do I actually need? When I'm saying that most women don't have enough protein, like, how much should I have? Typically, you need to have between 0.7 to 1.2 grams of protein per body weight. I would say that typically women are under 100 grams, consuming under 100 grams of protein a day. And, at 1 gram of protein per body weight, per pound of body weight, that would make you 100 pounds. And most of us aren't 100 pounds. So if you could shoot for, 100 grams of protein a day, that would be a great start. But for most of us, we probably need a little bit more. And if you need help in, determining exactly how much protein you need in grams, then I can help you with that. That's what we do as with our coaching clients. So we need the protein. We need a minimum, for the most part, of about 100 grams. When is the best time to have protein? So as the study suggested, it's best to break it up. We can digest it more effectively when we break up our protein throughout the day and not just have it all in one sitting. A great time to have protein is in your post-workout shake, and you can find another video on exactly the reason for that. But our cells are very permeable to insulin. So after our workout, we have a bunch of cortisol floating around. So we want to get a raise in insulin. And when we have a raise in insulin, that helps to get we want to have a bit of carbs and a bit of protein, because the insulin will make our cells permeable and get all the good stuff into the cells for rebuilding. So, and if we don't have that protein, there's not a specific window that you must have your protein shake within 30 minutes or something dire will happen. The reason that you want to have a post-workout shake, or preferably liquid liquid replenishment, is because it's fast acting. It'll stop the insulin, or it'll stop the cortisol response that may be elicited from your workout. And it will also, sorry, hey guys, the neighbor took his mail in. And where was I? And it'll just help the recovery process a little faster. And I noticed that, you know, I'm having that post-workout shake with a little bit of carbs and protein, and I'm finding my energy is returning much faster. So having protein spread out throughout the day. I always like to have a bit of protein whenever I have a meal or a snack, because it helps to stabilize blood sugar, so I don't get those high, you know, high blood sugar, low blood sugar, high energy, low energy. So it helps to stabilize your energy a little bit more as well. So a couple examples of quality protein, other than just the obvious, you know, meats, chicken, fish, beef, pork. You know, organic when you can, the best quality that you can, but a couple other non-meat options would be like Greek yogurt. You can mix Greek yogurt and protein powder if you can't stomach the plain Greek yogurt. The protein powder kind of gives it a little bit of flavor. You can add some berries to that. Hard-boiled eggs, or eggs of any sort, egg whites. I'm not opposed to egg yolks, but I do try and control my fat intake a little bit. So if I had 6 eggs, that would be, you know, really bump my fat up intake. So I might have like 4 egg whites and 1 egg yolk. And it's not because I have anything against the yolks, but I have a specific macro content that I want to, that's optimal for me. So that's why I might not have quite as many yolks. There is protein and fat in the yolks, but only protein in the eggs, egg whites. So you could have beef jerky, turkey jerky, chicken jerky. When I was in Australia, I had kangaroo jerky. So that's a great option as well, but you have to be careful of the sugar in that. There's usually lots of sodium in it, but it's great for travel. Cottage cheese, if you are dairy friendly, is a great option. Quinoa, it's got more carbs, but it actually has some protein in it as well. Broccoli, who knew? It had a lot of protein in it. Hemp seeds, chia seeds, protein bars. You want to be very careful with protein bars, because lots of times they have a very high carb count. So, and if they don't have a high carb count, they might have a very high processed, well, they're highly processed, but lots of times they have net carbs, and they might have artificial sweeteners. And I know that on occasion, if I'm traveling and all I can have is like a protein bar, sometimes it upsets my stomach. So you have to be careful with those bars. And, you know, I just use them in moderation. You can make your own protein bars if you're a better cooker than me, but there's some great recipes that you can make your own. And I do like the RX, I think they're RX bars. I think there's like 5 ingredients in them, and those ones are really good. Now let's talk about protein powder, because my post-workout shake has always got a protein powder. So I brought 2 protein powders that we have in our house. I use whey. I'm not lactose intolerant. Whey is fine for me. It's a whey isolate. I'm not married to this brand. This brand seems to work for us. But it's 35 grams of protein. So when you're looking for a protein supplement, you know, it can be overwhelming. So you want to make sure that there's not a lot of carbs in it. So this one, for 1 scoop, which is 41 grams, is 150 calories, 0.5 grams of fat. So you don't want fat in your protein supplement. And it's got 3 grams of carbs and 35 grams of protein. Then it's got other stuffs in it. This one's just the Casein brand, and it's fine. My suggestion when you're buying a protein supplement is try and buy a small canister at first. Or like my neighbor was out and I'm like, hey, do you want to, we were talking about this. She actually listens to my videos sometimes and she's like, wow, I'm learning a lot. And she was talking about protein powder. So I just gave her a scoop and said, try that, see how your stomach feels. Like, you don't want to buy like the, you know, the huge, biggest container to only find out that, oh, it tastes like chalk, or it's not, doesn't sit well with me. So give it a try, or see if you can get a sample first. And this one has got stevia, which I like because I'm not a big fan of artificial sweeteners. And so that's a great choice for the whey. The other choice for protein is a casein protein, and this one, the whey is a bit faster digesting. So that one I put in my post workout shake. But if you want a slower digesting protein, I was talking to a client this morning and she said, well, I use casein and she has it in her morning smoothie, and she says it helps to sustain her, she doesn't get hungry until lunch. So this casein protein is, you know, it's similar in the macros: 1 gram of fat, 3 grams of carbs, 24 grams of protein. This is a 34 grams scoop, and this is a 41 gram scoop. And I'm a nerd, I weigh everything. So but this one is a great protein to have when you want to have, it's great for recovery. For like, sometimes I have this recipe for a protein mug cake, and it's protein and cocoa and egg white and cashew milk, and then I'll put a couple berries in it. You microwave it for a minute, and so it's my version of a mug cake. And this is a great protein to have in the evening because it also helps, you know, slower digesting. And sometimes you can get an insulin response at night that can wake you up, that will interrupt your sleep. So I find that is great for that. What else do I have? I talked about protein bars, canned tuna, canned salmon, sardines. I'm not a sardine fan, but they're great in terms of protein. I want to mention nuts and nut butters because a lot of people think, oh, well, peanut butter, I'll have peanut butter because that's got protein. Honestly, you really need to consider nuts as a fat source. And there's nothing wrong with fat, but if you're looking for protein, don't go looking in nuts. You have to eat a bushel full of nuts to get protein, and by the time you've eaten a bushel full of nuts, you'll have overeaten on fat quite a bit. And I know that was one of the issues that I had a year and a half ago, is I had a lot more nuts in my diet, and my fats were a little bit higher. And once I kind of rejigged those macros so that I wasn't eating quite as much fat, a little bit more protein, and actually more carbs, more volume, I feel like I'm eating more than ever now, and I've actually gotten leaner. So there you go. That's the information on protein. I actually was one of my fitness boot campers that asked, so I thought, you know what, rather than just write about it, I'm going to do a video, and I hope this is helpful. I'm also going to have the write-up, and remember that if you're looking for results, especially when you're working out and making efforts, you know, 80%, I would say in our 40s and 50s, I would say it's 85 or 90% of how we look, the aesthetics, is going to be based on what we put in our mouth. And so it's super important. If you're going to get results anyway, why not get the results that you want? Be deliberate, be decisive. These are things that I've been talking about a lot. And make a commitment to yourself that you're going to do right by you, because when you're feeling good in your own skin, you can do all kinds of things performance-wise in the gym, with your kids, with your grandkids, vocationally. And, you know, I've been talking about dating lately. I feel so much better meeting new people when I feel good in my own skin. So just a plug for self-care. This was a plug for protein. I hope you rethink your protein. I want you to be really deliberate about the protein sources that you're using. Use as high a quality protein as you can afford, and just try and get the protein in. My suggestion is to get MyFitnessPal, start logging your food, because it's an education. You'll realize that, oh wow, I didn't know this had protein. Oh, I thought that had more protein. Oh, this has a lot of carbs. Like, it's really a great tool to help educate you. And if you need a bit more help, I'm there for you. All right, have an awesome day. Go have some protein. Oh, and if you have any questions, make sure to post them.